This short video will show you how I use Lightroom to do post-processing of pictures I take, whether it's with the Nikon and sometimes even with the iPhone. All it takes is a few moments to clean up a picture and make it worthy of sharing. Alright everyone, I wanted to show you how I edit pictures after they've been taken. Tonight I was looking at this beautiful Recordia. It's been one I've wanted forever. I finally got it, and it was looking amazing under my super blue XHO lighting. So I took a picture, and as you can see, it does not look amazing. But in Lightroom, I'm able to import my pictures from my Nikon, and then I develop them. And I just want to show you my process, because it's not really complicated. So the first thing I do is I go over here to the spectrum, and I change my Kelvin. And by dragging it across to a higher number, which typically I like to go 10K, but because it was so super blue, I'm going to go higher to like 20,000 Kelvin, 23,000. And I could even add a little bit more red back into this by just moving this over slightly, but I usually don't touch that. I only focus on the blue to yellow spectrum. That's all I care about. Now, I have other things I can do here, and I have a process. I'm not going to drag this out and take forever to explain this, but I just wanted to show you what I like to do. I always hit profile corrections because that will adjust for the shape of the lens, but I used a macro lens this time, which doesn't really have that big bevel that I'm so used to. I also click remove chromatic aberrations. And then I always like to sharpen, and as you can see, this is kind of pixelated. And I would turn the radius down to the smallest pixel I can, which is 0.5 of 1 pixel. And I crank this up to around 85%. Then, another thing I like to do is adjust my highlights. I bring that down a little bit. And I might even mess with my shadows a fraction just to see if that helps a little bit. I might increase the whites for a little bit more pop. And I might even increase my blacks, again, to darken it. And then I like to crop my pictures too. Since it's so far away in this picture, I can go ahead and hit the R button, and I can just bring this into my frame. And then I've got my nice Recordia. And I didn't really do a lot here. I didn't really change a lot. I can go ahead and I can crease a curve here. Maybe bring in some darkness again, a little bit there. And that's it. That's all I do. So now let me show you the difference. Here's the original picture. And here's my cleaned up version, the exact same photograph. Now there is one little circle here I don't like. So I can go ahead and click this, which is a retouching option. And all I do is clone that area with a nice clean dot-free item. There's another dot I don't like. Here's a little crumb right here. And that's it. They're gone. Then I can just save my picture. And I like to save it around 1200 pixels. And I would probably call it something like Special Recordia and today's date. That's it. So let's go to another one. I've got a couple of pictures of a Walt Disney here that may not be worth editing, but we'll give it a shot. So we'll adjust ourselves back up into the 20 Kelvin. It's got a lot of green in there, needing some pink. Wow, if I add a lot, it kind of gets you that normal color you're used to seeing. I'm not really in love with this coral. It's not a great angle to take this picture. It should have been better from above. This is from the side. And again, I'll hit this and I'll hit this. I'll adjust my sharpening up. And I think bringing the highlights down might help a little bit, bring out some detail. Yep, that brought some detail in there. We'll increase the whites a little bit, not too high. Another thing you can do in Lightroom that I kind of like to play with, but not too much, because I'm trying to match my human eye, is I'll increase clarity a little bit. And that kind of makes the water even more crystal clear, even though my glass already does a great job of that. And now when I'm looking at it, I mean, you can see this is not a great picture. I mean, look at the quality. But for what we're doing online, this is good enough. Now I can go ahead and I can trim out a little bit of this and kind of put in the bottom corner. It's a little bit more interesting that way. And I think I'll leave it like that. Maybe we'll pull this down a little bit. See, that makes it really dark. But adjusting a curve kind of is nice again. So we'll look at the before and after. It's still better than it was, right? All right, and then we'll save this one. So And then finally, we have one more picture here that I took of some blastos that look like nothing right now. Again, hit my normal stuff in the bottom there. We'll go ahead and adjust our blue to get our reds back where they belong. These blastos have green centers, but we can't see them because the coral is so fluffed up. And from the angle I took it, you just can't get to it. But see, that's pretty close to true life. And it's okay. It's not the greatest picture in the world. Another thing I can do here, I can unlock the actual shape, and so I can tell it I want it to be 16 by 10. And that's actually the same size I need for my website as well as for YouTube. So we'll bring this down. See, we've got this area here that's kind of worthless. So maybe move it over a little bit and again have that artistic look to it. And then we'll bring this down a little bit to get some detail. I think we'll take away some shadow. Nah, a little bit. Make it a little brighter. I do like to deepen the blacks. Maybe increase some clarity. Ooh, that helped. And that's about it for this one. I wish there was more green in this picture. That would have been more color popping. Oh, and we got some specks over here. So here's something I can do. You'll see there's a plus sign. I can just click it once for magnification. And then I can go into my touch-up brush. And I reduce the circle to the size of my object. So I see the circle and I see the object. See how I'm doing here? I'm just kind of looking. That matches it. And we'll get this one over here. Another thing you can do is you can zoom back out and then pick another area. Or up here, you can drag it around to where you want to go on the screen. So you see you can jump around by clicking in the little preview window. This is just my process. This is what I do normally. So it's kind of fuzzy and hideous. Another thing you can do is a noise reduction, and you can increase that number here and here, and that'll kind of soften this up so it doesn't look so grainy and noisy. That's it. We're going to go ahead and export this one. And this one was a blasto. All right, so I did that for you guys. Now let me jump to a different folder because I wanted to show you some pictures from the other day. These are going to be more normal, the kind of stuff you're used to seeing. So like here we've got, that's a good coral under some bright lighting. So we'll develop this one. This would be a good example. Oh, is that my macro lens still? I wanted to use a different lens. Let's do... Actually, let me show you this one here. So this is one you can see all the settings I used to make this picture look the way it does. Here's the original picture. And then here is my final. And if you do the before, I mean, this is before. And do you see how the screen bulges like that? That whole reason is because of the shape of the lens I'm using on my camera. It actually makes a rectangular object bulge a little bit in the center. And so I use profile corrections here to correct for the lens itself. And that's what allows me to clean up a picture. So originally it was very blue, and I went up here and I made all these adjustments in here, which you can see right here. But this whole process does not take me long. I probably spend about a minute on a picture. Here's another picture that I cleaned up. Here's the original. Here's the cleaned up version. So let's go ahead and grab a normal picture here. I don't like that one. Let's find something we like. How about this one? That was pretty good. All right, let's use this one. This looks a little blurry. It's a little soft, but we're not going to be able to sharpen it up much, but we're going to correct it. So again, I'm going to adjust for the lens, remove any chromatic aberrations, and then we will change our spectrum to get rid of all this green, because we have too much green. I like to be around 10,000 Kelvin, like I said. And we got way too much green, so we're going to pull this over to at least the midpoint, where we're half in the red, half in the green. And then we'll pull down on the exposure a little bit, or highlights, I'm sorry. A little bit down on shadows, increase some whites, increase some blacks. There's not really a lot of interesting things going on here around it. It might be nicer to just focus on the polyps themselves. So I could just crop a lot of this. Actually, if you... Okay, so the padlock is unlocked. So you see right now I can do whatever I want, any shape I want. But if the padlock was locked, it would keep the aspect ratio, no matter which area of the box I pick. And then you can take your subject and you can move it around to what you feel works best for you. You might say, I really like this, but I don't like the rest. So I'm going to focus on these two areas, like where the two are meeting. So that is now showing our wall of death between the two colonies. And it might even be nice, again, to increase the clarity a little bit. And move this over just a hair to kind of take out some of the haze. It's actually looking almost a little too intense now for me. I might bring it down a speck. So one of the ways I could do that is decrease my whites a little bit. And other than that, I can pretty much live with this picture. And now if I was saving for my website, I would like it to be a smaller size file, so it'll fit my blog. So I would tell it, sunset polyps. And then I wouldn't put the date necessarily because I don't track this coral like that, but I might put the size of the pixels. And that is dictated right here, 773. I also have it where it automatically adds my watermark, and then I hit export. And now I've got that file saved on my computer, and I can go ahead and I can share that online. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them. I've been using Lightroom now for several years, and it's super easy. And once you've done it for a while, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you for watching.